I have planned to work on today, which is my little gate project. Um, just had a random thought. So as I'm sitting out here, the Hispanic people, of course, have some type of festivities going on. They always got something, and I really love and appreciate that they do that pretty regularly. But what made me kind of sad is, and these people have been out here for a few years, so they've kind of made a little way for themselves. What made me a little bit sad about it though was I saw like a Hispanic guy walk by, like looked like he may be Mexican. I think these people are. They said they're not Mexican. I think they said they're Ecuadorian. I'm sorry I'm doing that. I see the line here and it's annoying me. But so I don't know why it's doing that. Probably because I don't have enough to fill out the top. But um, but the waist fits snugly. But anyhow, so there was like a Mexican looking guy that walked past, right? And he was looking, he had his backpack on, and he was looking back at the festivities. And it disappointed me a little bit because, in my mind's eye, I want to believe that the Hispanic community, that they're perfect, well, at least perfect to each other. Look at this, at least perfect to each other. And I'm not going to do my hair. I am because I can't look at this for too long. But I can for as long as it takes, but I'm not going to let this go on for days. But not if I don't have to. But yeah, he had on his backpack, and he's probably about 30, but he's short and chubby, and he's looking back at them. And again, I felt disappointed by that because, in my mind's eye, my idealistic mind, I want to think that, the whole Hispanic community, that everybody knows each other, and that whenever they have a party, everybody that's Hispanic, you know, they invite all the Latin people. Like in South Florida, it was like that. But I guess when you're not in need, you know, like they say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. When you're not in need, you're not desperate to get every single person that you can. I remember, and maybe because they're not Mexican, I don't know, but I remember, like I said, in South Florida when the hurricanes hit, um, there were some Hispanic people. They were out in the yard, in not the yard, but like the parking lot, off of Sunny Isles Beach. And all the electricity was down for a week. All the Spanish people, they knew their food was gonna go bad, and so they went out in the parking lot and they were like, "Hey, come, 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 everybody!" And not just the Spanish people, but just anybody that walked by. They were telling them to come, and enjoy the food. They didn't want it to go to waste. The difference that I see in that is Black people. I remember when I was going through the legal situation, I was living in a hotel before I got court ordered to a shelter, right? And I worked like three jobs. I worked at a shoe store. I worked at was it car wash? I had so many jobs it didn't make any sense at one time, right? And it was it was a harrowing experience, I have to tell you. But I remember I had some frozen chicken in the freezer, and you know I had a week at the hotel, so my hotel stay was going to be up, so I was going to give it away. And I remember seeing like a guy and a girl in the courtyard of the hotel, and I was like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" I used to be real sweet and friendly back then. I miss the old me. The old me was such a sweetheart, so confident but sweet. I miss me. You know, they stole me from me. I got to get me back. You know, makes me cry thinking about. I miss me like I miss my mom, maybe even more. But so so yeah, I saw this guy and this girl in the courtyard, and I figured they were a couple. You know what I'm saying? Like they were boyfriend and girlfriend, or fiance, and they were on vacation, or perhaps they would just come across some hard times and they were trying to get through it together. And I said, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And then after I walked in the house and walked back out, this guy was by my door. He says, "Do you know those people?" I said, "No." I said, "I was just speaking," and he was like, "That's a pimp, and that's his." Whatever they call a pimp hoe, whatever. And I was just so shocked and taken back that he said that. And he was like, "Don't speak to people if you don't know who you're speaking to." And I said, "Well, I just spoke because I had some, chicken, and I'm about to leave the hotel, and I wanted to give it to them because they might have a family." He was like, "No, just throw that shit away," you know. And so, you know, he didn't know those people either, but he was just letting me on because I guess, looking back in hindsight, he's probably like, they're gonna turn that girl out. But I wasn't thinking anything like that. I was at a hotel. saying I'm a hardworking person. I have a legal situation that's undue, and I'm just trying to make it through it. And I see other people there that, might not mind having this chicken. That's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. And that makes me sad. And that's the Black experience that I had. But, maybe that's just the experience of people these days. And I wasn't thinking hoe and pimp. Who would think that? I wouldn't think that. I was thinking a couple. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad that, that idealism, that every Spanish person, but I guess people, only are as open as their options are. And, people used to say that, about dating and men, but maybe that's true about just about people in general. And I see how in my older years, like I said, and the reason that conversation happened in that car, when the guy was asking me about my shoes, because I didn't have my phone, so I didn't have anything to prevent me from interacting. You know what I'm saying? And so if somebody speaks to me and I hear them, you know, the listening to Selena, it's it's a little bit sad, because then you see how I respond to that trigger. It's a trigger for people to speak to me because, like I said, and that's the same about that first experience that I had, where I was having a good day, normal day, conversation good, but then that girl just blindsided me, you know. So I'm entitled to speed of change because, that's it's a lot of different types of attributes of people that I see or that I have an idealism that I want to be. I want to be that person that every Black person that walked by, or every person period, because I'm mixed. So, that walks by, especially any person of color, I want to be like, hey, come on. I want to be one that has a big cookout or big food and anybody come. I want to be that. But I get my place together. So, here's step one. I'm getting the gate is keeping people out, which is the opposite of that. But, still, but when I'm comfortable in my home and it looks nice, you know, and I look nice, then we'll be able to do that. And hopefully I'll be able to do that before this lifetime is over. That's what I want. I want to have an inviting place. I want to be an inviting person. And I want to be welcoming to everyone, and not because, and when I was younger, I was welcoming everyone. It wasn't because out of need or desperation. It was because that was my true spirit. But now, I have to build myself back up to where, it would be a value, um, where it would be a value to somebody, to, be a part of anything that I have. So that's what I want. That's my goal and my dream. So anyways, somebody popped up a message and I'm sure it was inappropriate. So we're gonna block that. But it's right on time timing because it puts me in a situation where I can get started. I've already got my stuff out here. But I hate that because it's in the morning and you want to start off the morning a good way. And that goes into people with too much time on their hands. And like I said, I'm not gonna hate because the other day, let me go ahead and block this now. I want to get this energy off. Okay, so I'm glad, Spectrum Man. Okay, I was scared that you were going to say something inappropriate, but I'm glad that you did. He says, when you zoom out and get a view of what's really happening, shoot. He says, thank you so much too for your participation. Sometimes I'm scared to respond to people or look at the comments because people say things that are so inappropriate. And I'm in a healing process. I'm very spiritual and very sensitive, so it does affect my spirit. But I think any human, because I've seen people in lives where people say things that are really inappropriate and it jars the person, even if it's a person that's really popular that has a lot of followers and things and a lot of active people. But let me read your chat. Spectrum Man Live One says, when you zoom out and get a broad view of what's really happening, the world is yeah, it makes me sad. It literally breaks my heart, and that's another reason why I didn't have children because, like my mom and dad, I think they did the best they could. And especially my mom, women always do go above and beyond. My mom went above and beyond to raise me. Wow. The community that I lived in, for the most part, the leaders in the community that I lived in went above and beyond to raise me well. only for me at 32 years, I'm almost 50 now, but at 32 years, only for me to be, put in a situation where I was falsely accused and put into a legal situation, and all that hard work, all that love that, my family and my community put into me, that's what they get for it. That was the return that they got on their investment of their love and their time. And it hurts me so much. And that's why, I didn't want to bring kids into this world, before that, because I already knew, it doesn't matter, like, how much you train your child or love your child, that they have to go out into this world. And either you have to teach them to fight. And in order to fight, you have to be a part of that beast. But anyways, I'm gonna go because now I'm crying, which is probably good because crying is healing. And in my opinion, tears are like when somebody cuts you or hurts you physically and you bleed. Tears are like the bleeding of the soul. My spirit got cut into a little bit. But anyways, love and peace. I'm gonna be okay. So I'm gonna get this done. So thank you so much, Spectral Live, for keeping me going. And your comment that evoked some emotion or made me, and this is why I like interaction on the internet, because it allows me to let this out. In person it would be scary and uncomfortable. You feel like, oh my god. but thank you, I love you, and I appreciate you so much for stopping by and saying hello. Goodbye for now. I'm gonna get this stuff together.